Oh, Kojo is here just as we're about to go live as well. Oh, we are actually live, believe it or not. Wow. Okay. Well done. We're here. We are live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the No Trough This podcast. And just on time is Kojo. Why are you doing that, Koj? What is wrong with you?
I'm in a good mood. I'll celebrate with the people outside, so, it's gone to my head. It's gone to my head, man. It's gone to my head.
What is wrong with you? Your drugs?
I've missed you. That's wrong with me. I've missed you, man.
Well, it's because you're pissed off that I infiltrated your stream last night.
No, I loved it. I can't lie to you.
That was the most random night we've ever had, I think. But welcome to the show, Kojo. Better late than never.
Thank you, bro.
There you go.
Hey guys.
Rhodri, how you doing?
Happening, Kojo.
How are you?
Everything okay, Rod? You good?
Nah, someone messed about with my name here.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. No.
Steve, you good?
Really good, mate. You?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. You're doing your bits for the BBC now. Look at this guy.
No. Well, maybe they can't get anybody else though.
British Broadcasting Commission. They're now bringing people such as yourself from podcasts. You shall be speaking the Queen's English quite soon there, Steve.
Try.
All right, gents. Well, listen, there's one place and only one place that I guess we should start, and that's England beating Denmark 2-1 after extra time. A debatable penalty winning it for England. But they're in the final for the first time in their history at the Euros. And Steve, you must be buzzing, especially given a couple of players that you coached are in the squad.
Yeah, well, 3 in the England squad with Connor Cody, who's not been on the pitch yet. Kasper Schmeichel, absolutely superb tonight. Was pretty much coached in-house in the football stable of Manchester City's academy when I was there. But yeah, largely put some work into Kieran Trippier and Phil Foden. But so did a lot of other people too. And I'm so pleased for those two that they got on, contributed in possession. And temperament of the team, holding on to victory comfortably, it was. But obviously there were other star performers tonight that went course and distance, and Harry Kane and Raheem Sterling in particular, absolutely outstanding, and probably a real special mention for Harry Maguire.
Absolutely, and Kojo. Wow, Raheem Sterling, another stellar performance. And there's something I was telling Rod before we actually started streaming, even before Steve came on. England looked like they could go another 90 minutes. They didn't look tired at all.
I think that's part of the management of the squads. I mean, I say that they do make late substitutions, but players like Raheem Sterling look after themselves very well. And you can see he's got the endurance in him. The fact that 117th minute he was sprinting, he beat 2 or 3 players towards the end, trying to make something happen. At the end of the game, he had one more chance before the whistle blew. That's part of, if you're going to win a tournament like this, you're going to need your players to be able to do 120 minutes and then possibly penalties. And he's one of those players that has that inside him. And I think their game management was really good as well. And when Denmark had a spell, they didn't panic. They didn't go all over the place. They were calm, they were relaxed, they were composed. Everyone did their job exactly how they had needed to. And I think that keeps them fresh, keeps them mentally going. Mentally, they were signed in for this game more than ever. Went 1-0 behind us and now we're still in this. So it doesn't surprise me that they lasted 120 minutes whilst Denmark were looking like they were just done with it after 50.
Well, this is it, Rod. And I think they made a couple of substitutions at the start of the half, and that effectively killed them, didn't it? The thing is, I'm not here to pick holes in England's performance, but at the beginning, I was looking at the lineup. I thought, they don't have that many big game experienced players in that lineup. Do you know what I'm saying? That have played in finals, that have played in semi-finals. There's a few mistakes defensively, and it was Carl Walker that was bailing England out all the time because of his pace. But then Denmark's goal came from a free kick, which then was followed by a free kick, a foul by Luke Shaw, a defender you'd expect better off. Holding on to the central, I think it was Christensen, wasn't it? The central defender. And obviously the free kick was absolutely fantastic. But talk to me about the goal itself. Should Pickford have stopped it? I know it's irrelevant now, but when you look at the grand scheme of things.
Oh, yeah, definitely should have saved it. It's in the middle of the goal, more or less. So, yes, if he looked at it, I'm pretty sure he'd say he should have saved it. But, it was a good strike. And, the free kicks could have been prevented. But, it kind of kicked England at the arse with what we needed to see how they would react when they went a goal down. And they reacted well and only got stronger, like you just mentioned before. So it only bodes well. But, Italy are a different animal than Denmark. So we were talking beforehand, it's one of them 50-50 games. Whoever performs the night probably only got the slight edge because they're at home and they have that crowd.
Absolutely. And Steve, when I look at England's system, they chose Saka ahead of Sancho. And obviously his positioning was intentional because he gave Vestergaard the runaround for the majority of the game anyway, while he was on the pitch. Kid's got a bright future, hasn't he, as we can tell?
Yes, he has. And it seems to be universal, Stel, and yourself included. I'm not fully convinced yet. But I think we're stacked with talent in that position, with Raheem Sterling finishing the game there, like amazing, really superb. Sancho played well the other day. Phil Foden can play there slightly different. But obviously it seems that, Saka's got the opportunity to have the starting shirt at the moment. He seems very willing. He seems an unbelievable competitor, another young player with fantastic temperament, but he never, for me, really seems to get any space. He never gets time on the ball. Now, that doesn't necessarily, have to be his game. And he seems to run into traffic, but by doing so, because he's doing it at top speed, he buys the team 5 or 6 free kicks per game. And I think England are largely a set play, animal. I believe, they're really good. So it's helpful, but for me, I'm gonna go with what you said, Stel. I just need a little bit more convincing that he could see a few more pictures as he gets more Arsenal appearances and a few more caps. But obviously, for such a young, tender age, I don't want to be misquoted here. He has done excellently, but I don't. I'd like to see a little bit more end product and see him have a little bit more time on the ball, engineered by himself.
There we go. And Kojo, let's talk about this penalty then, because you hear the phrase, I've seen them given, but with VAR, I've seen them overturned. And when Raheem Sterling went down from the angle I was watching, I thought, he's going to give a penalty because it looks like he was knocked. But after watching the VAR, it looked like there was very minimal contact. I had the commentary turned off because Lee Dixon was doing my fucking head in all fairness. So I don't know what exactly they said, but when I saw the VAR, I thought, why is he giving it? Was that a Stonewall pen for you? I can't hear you.
Sorry, my bad. When I saw the decision from the other angle, I was like, no, he's gonna overturn that. Sure, he's gonna overturn that. That's not a penalty at all. He's dived. He's dived, and no. They gave it. That's a bottle drop decision from VAR for me, because the contact, if any contact, is for me is non-existent, and it's definitely not enough for him to fall. I know what he's done. He's in a crowded box. He's seen someone go for the ball. He's thrown himself to ground. He's tried to win a penalty and he's been successful. But that with VAR, when you can see it again, that's not a penalty at all. That's a drop decision. Not that England will care, but it was definitely the wrong decision. And you could tell after Kane scored, there was a replay of Kane kissing Sterling's head with a little smile. You could see he was giving him a little bit of thanks for that. Nice one.
Yeah, it's changed it to its coming home to its diving home, isn't it? Rod, what are your thoughts on the penalty decision? Do you agree with Kojo?
Yeah, it's not a penalty, is it? It's where probably the VAR has got a problem with it, where it's got to be clear and obvious. No, it's just not. It's not a penalty. It's a soft one, especially to go out of a semi-final. So it can feel hard done by, but with Sterling, you feel a touch, you go over. That's what you're told. So if you don't, then you don't get a penalty. So he's learned that. He's got experience with that now. Some you get, some you don't. And luckily at home with the crowd, no one else thought it was a penalty, only the rest. So yeah, it's. Maybe the looks with England this side, but yeah, it wasn't a penalty.
Steve, are we all being bitter, or do you agree? Is that a pen?
I just want to throw it back to you, lads. Well, I think they picked up on it in commentary. Was it for the loose foot that had no contact, which was the initial challenge from the Denmark first defender, or was it for the outside thigh of the second defender? I think it was the sub that had just come on. Do we actually know what? We know it was a penalty. We know it went to VAR, but was it for the first lunge where there was no contact and it looked like when Sterling was diving at that point, or was it like I say, the brush of the outside thigh of the second defender? So there was contact with the second one. If it was for that,
second one, it looks like he's already on the way down, though, doesn't he?
Sure. But Sterling's got this unbelievable talent these days of when defenders have got their arm out. Obviously, they've got the body in the way. He's running at them at pace, and he ducks underneath the arm, and he just darts in down the side of their ribs. So, like I say, he was definitely off balance, but I'll have to wait to have it clarified either from yourselves or tomorrow when I read about it. Was it the first defender or the second?
Yeah, that I don't know. The thing is, when you see
you're sitting on the fence then?
I did not. No, well, no. Both ways, it wasn't a penalty for me, but I'd have a stronger answer because the first one was 100% not a penalty, no contact. The first defender, and the second one was minimal contact, but there was contact in the box at speed. So if it was for that, I can see why it's been given. But if it's for the first one, it's a farce in our favour.
Again, another question to all three of you. As for the penalty that was taken by Harry Kane, Kasper Schmeichel here has made a good save, but I'm looking at it, I'm thinking it's almost as if he tried to hold on to the ball. Now, if he tried to hit it away from goal, then it probably wouldn't have gone towards Harry Kane. Do you guys agree with that? Kojo, you were nodding your head.
I do get a bit iffy with. I know goalkeeping is not easy. The pressure of the situation is difficult, but you've got to make a decision. You got to be sticking with your decision. So if you're going to go to ground, you're going to grab it. That needs to be your first instinct, not to sort of go for the block, but then almost change your mind last second. If he saves that properly, he can either palm it away, or he can just bring it close to his body and just kill off the situation and keep it at 1-1. But it's those small sort of details that determine, in that top level anyway, how a game goes, whether you win or you lose. I think he could have saved that better, but that's something I think he's going to regret, because you could tell how disappointed he was when it went in. He realised that he should have done better, for him anyway. Steve, what do you reckon?
I was only thinking while you were chatting there, it seems you had not seen a goalkeeper tip one round the outside of the post for forever. But I know it's difficult. He was man of the match, as Roy Keane quite rightly chose, albeit on the losing side. He was almost perfect in his performance. His kicking was obscene, turning defence into attack, off the floor, out of his hands, drop kicking him, half volleying him, playing for time. The biggest problem was the substitute Poulsen that came on. I think it was one of the worst substitute performances I've ever seen. Denmark were defending for their lives, and their outball to him, he couldn't do anything with it, and it just kept breaking down with him. But it's difficult to have a go at Kasper for his performance and for the penalty. It's hard enough to save him as it is. So to go the right way, get a good contact on it, and for it to spin back towards the penalty spot for Kane for a side foot, whatever it was, 8-10 yards. It was just bad luck, but good judgment in the first place with the save. I can't really knock him for it.
Yeah, and Joe, to be fair to Kasper, it's like when you see a lot of father-son footballers, you tend to see, like, for example, Jordi Cruyff. He didn't end up like Johan, did he? But Frank Lampard was better than Frank Lampard Senior, sure, in my opinion, anyway. But Kasper and Peter, I still don't think Kasper Schmeichel is as good as his dad was, but he's not too far off, is he?
Well, no, but obviously he did that, stereotypical save of Peter Schmeichel. Did he call it? The start?
Starman, yeah.
He did one of them. He's tipped one round the post, just like he did in the FA Cup final. He's tipped one over the bar. He's punched two out that was smacked, that wobbling straight towards him. He's, like I say, his kicking was on an elite level. I thought he was absolutely brilliant, but Peter Schmeichel had earned the right to play for Manchester United, the biggest club in the world, who were the best team in the world at a golden time in their life. It's not little old Leicester City anymore. But at the same time, Kasper won't be able to put in the performances that Peter Schmeichel had because of, I think, the status of the team that he plays for as well.
There you go. Rod, Calvin Phillips had a decent game. He and Declan Rice had a good game as well. I saw them kind of alternating who was going forward. I think Denmark looked a bit leggy in the middle of the park, so they knew that they had the energy levels. And I think it was the second period of extra time. Calvin Phillips was more advanced than Declan Rice, whereas Rice was more advanced in the first period. Now, obviously, that was intentional, but when they come across an Italian side who are probably going to play three in the middle of the park, it's going to be an interesting battle there, won't it?
Yeah, well, like we said before, Italy a different animal, so it's a 50-50 game. But it's England can go in feeling confident, and if they perform, they'll probably win. So it's it'd be a massive battle in there. Italy will miss Spinazzola because he was a really good player for him. It's a shame because it's a big injury. Like I said, it's a nasty one. So it's a big miss from that. How is Chiesa? He looked like he was struggling at the end. How are the players feeling after the long game? But England had a long game too, but England did look strong at the end, really strong. So, but we just have to wait and see. But yeah, it's one to look forward to anyway.
Absolutely.
And like I said before, it's the only thing Italian that can find.
Oh, brilliant. Right, let's talk about that other semi-final then. Spain against Italy. Italy going through on penalties. Kojo, we watched this match live. We had our own streams. And at the beginning, I was saying to Double D that you could tell Spain were very inexperienced, especially when it came to the finishing. Oyarzabal could have had 3 goals. There was one where the ball got stuck underneath his left foot. There was another one where he chose to hit it first time when he could have taken a touch on the edge of the box. He could have even used the pace of the ball to direct it, but he just thrashed at it. But then there was a tactical change in the second half when Italy went from a 4-3-3 to a 4-2-3-1, and Spain used who's the number 19? What's his name?
Omo.
Oh yeah, Omo. They used him as like a false 9. And that got them back into the game when Morata scored. But first of all, let's talk about Spain and how well they've done to get this far, given that it's a practically new squad, isn't it? A lot of debutants, a lot of players without that many caps. Even Eric Garcia, who I know Steve loves, played centre-back yesterday. Yeah. Can I just say that Eric Garcia went off, right, in extra time, and his kit was pristine. Right,
Oh, yeah.
And then you look at Laporte; he had mud all over his kit.
and look at the difference in the two players for tonight. Christensen, sorry to interrupt there.
Yeah,
Christensen overstretching for all sorts of things, committed to everything. Right in the heat of the battle, you knew when he went down with cramp or fatigue, whatever it is, you knew it was genuine. I think Garcia looked up and thought, that'll do me now, just get myself off.
Yep.
Won't have to get involved in the penalty shootout. He couldn't wait to get the big coat on.
Here you go, Coach.
I think they well, actually, I didn't expect them to go very far at all, to be fair. So the fact they got to semi-final was very impressive. I think Luis Enrique deserves a lot of praise for that, because he's a manager that doesn't get too much respect. Even when he won the treble with Barcelona, you have the fans of today that say, well, if you have Messi, Suarez, and Neymar, you'll win anything. That's not how football works. End of the day, he played them in many different styles, went back to their old school tiki-taka, sometimes just play a bit of a more structured game, but one way or another, it led them to a treble, and they were much better than everybody else in every competition that they won. So coming into this competition, he made big decisions, left Ramos at home. So his real only experienced player that he can really depend upon were Alba and Busquets. And those two did play well, but the rest of them, as you said, are inexperienced. Morata, you cannot depend on him whatsoever to be the key man, because he will always let you down like he did. So I think for a team that is very, very inexperienced, what you said about Oyarzabal is right. There was another chance where he had sort of let a header go by him. He could have headed it, but
That's right, he headed it wide, didn't he?
Yeah, he let it go wide. It's these small differences, but what's good is that these young players will learn from that. And when they come back, possibly in another 4 years for the Euros, or maybe in 2 years for the World Cup, if they're to make it, then they will be in a much better position, having had that experience of going so far and feeling that pain of having gone so far and lost to Italy. So it's good. It's good. It was good for them. I think they can call that a bit of a success, this tournament.
And let's not forget, Enrique lost his daughter, didn't he? His daughter was 9 years old. She
Exactly.
passed away last year. So, for him to continue managing, it's a testament, be a massive credit to him. But Steve, again, obviously the Italians showed their experience. They were more clinical in front of goal when it came to the penalty shootout. The Spanish goalkeeper did what, we spoke about the other day, doing his grovelar and moving across the goal. But effectively, Italy, I think they won the game just before the shootout, really, with the way that Chiellini was kind of. I don't know if you saw it. He was.
I saw it.
They were doing the coin toss, and it was winding up Jordi Alba, and Chiellini was just
hyper.
Yeah.
He was hyper, wasn't he?
I think captain. Rod's captain. There you go.
He wasn't for taking a penalty himself, though, was he? He wasn't that hyper about grabbing the ball and putting it on the spot, was it? His mate did, though. And Bonucci's obviously got a record of missing penalties, but he stepped up. But I'm not sure what the so-called banter was all about. But Spain captain wasn't too thrilled with it, I don't think.
No, not at all. So, what did you make of Spain, Steve, overall in the game? In all fairness, I think they had enough chances first half to at least to be 2 or 3 up.
Loved them, and I was encouraged. I was like half a chat with Rhodri just before the show there. Very similar to England, the speed of England, the way with Walker and Shaw, Sterling, really excites me. I don't see that in Italy. I see fitness, I see organisation, I see brilliant footballers, I see maturity, know-how, how to win. I see all that, and that's how they won the game. You feel. But every time Spain wanted to penetrate, it was knife through butter. They were flying. They were absolutely flying down the wings. And I was watching it with my father, and I said the difference here is the pace in the game is with Spain, and they also had the control. But Italy had that mature edge, and I think we've got that genuine pace that can trouble Italy because I don't think they can match us for it. So while Spain lost the game, you obviously love everything going through Busquets and the way heavy in possession, but I really liked how quick they were, certainly on the break when they wanted to go. And I think we can use that to our advantage against Italy too.
Yeah, and what I noticed in this game, especially the opening half an hour, how Donnarumma was aiming his kicks straight down the middle, tried to get distance on it, but aimed it at Garcia, knowing that he's not good in the air. Obviously, the Italians did their homework, but when it comes to England, they're not going to have that option, will they? Because Stones is good in the air, Maguire's good in the air. Yeah. As we mentioned before, Walker can cover defensively with the pace, and Luke Shaw, all right, he's got mistakes in him, but he's a solid defender. He's having a good tournament. So they're really going to have to think about this one. Yeah, and the goalkeeper starting positions at both ends, really quick off the line, really quick to get the game going, and the speed in the game was brilliant. But I think Italy's strengths we can cope with better than Spain. Absolutely. So, Rod, Chiesa's goal, another cracker. It's the second time he's done that.
It is, but if you the manager, Spain defender, don't let him come in on his right foot. Keep him on his left. But yeah, you just invite him what he did, and you see that he's got the quality to do that. So yeah, it was a great finish, and he looked like he was struggling at the end. So hopefully he recovers and he's okay for Sunday. But I think touching what Stel said there, I think Spain need a Harry Kane, and England have got that. So if England play with the pace and the intensity that they can, and they get into the ball to Sterling or Kane, then you probably see England win. But I think Kojo's been a bit harsh on Morata. He's leading Spanish goal scorer in European competition. There's some Fernando Torres, there's Raul, there's some good top players in there. So if it wasn't for him, they wouldn't have got back in the game. So yes, he missed the penalty. It was a poor penalty. But I think we've touched on it before. Once you took one penalty, it gets nerve-wracking. Where do you go the same way, or the keeper knows which way I'm going to go? And it was a poor penalty. And like Harry Kane's, Kasper Schmeichel knows Harry Kane. Usually Harry Kane goes to the left, but he went to the right. It was a poor one. And, if Kasper Schmeichel was being honest, he should have kept hold of it.
Well, let's talk about Morata's goal then, because as I said before, Italy had switched from a 4-3-3 to a 4-2-3-1, and that meant that one man down in the middle of the park, and the ball was straight down the middle. It could have been intercepted had, I don't know, Verratti been positioned there or whoever. But Morata's finish was fantastic, Kojo. But that being said, you're expecting him to score from that range, surely.
Yeah, no, he has to score for that. I mean, firstly, he's driving the ball, and the little link up with Olmo was fantastic. What I loved about the finish was he sort of sold Donnarumma. Donnarumma committed to the left already. He just finished it into the near post. So, and that's why I'm a bit harsh with Morata, because when I look at his overall ability, I see the makings of someone that can be the complete striker. But in his career, a lot of major moments, he's gone missing, or he's just not really performed to the level that you want him to. And Rhodri's right. Penalty situations are tough. The pressure is different. So you can forgive him missing that. But for me, again, just because he's had so many moments like that, that's a bit too tough on him. But that finish, and Donnarumma, bear in mind, he's had a phenomenal tournament. To just sell him like that and just have the composure and the ease just to pass into the bottom of the corner, it's something you got to praise. Something that in a big game like that, you got to praise that. That's the moment he stood up. It's unfortunate that the penalty was poor. If he struck a good penalty and he got saved, no complaints. But because the penalty just wasn't so good, that sort of negates what he'd done previously when he came off the bench. For me,
there must be something there, because you look at the teams that he's been at. Real Madrid, Chelsea, Juventus. These are top tier clubs. So he may be one of them players that is absolutely firing training and comes to games. It doesn't come out the same. I've seen that before, and vice versa. So yeah, it's a difficult one, but he does get in positions. He's not clinical, is he?
Yeah. The thing is, his goals to game ratio isn't great either. I mean, at Real Madrid back in 2010 to 2014, he scored 10 in 37, which looks good. Then he joined Juventus, he scored 15 in 63. Joined back Real Madrid, scored 15 in 26. And then he went to Chelsea, 16 goals in 47 games. Atleti scored 18 in 49. And at Juve, he's back on loan. He scored 11 in 32. So it's not Cristiano Ronaldo stats, but you don't expect that, because Cristiano Ronaldo...
It's what it looks like. It's 1 in 3 in it, one in 3 games. So,
And he's played as a lone striker at most of these clubs. Yes, if you think about it, Atletico Madrid, lone striker. Chelsea, lone striker. All right, Real Madrid, he was coming off the bench. He was playing up front with Ronaldo and Benzema, who's hardly getting a game. So I feel for the lad, because he's obviously talented. He's 28 as well. He's basically at his
he's by far the best striker Spain have got. So
yeah, I would agree with that.
So, what was it? Moreno, there's the other one.
Pardon?
Moreno's the other striker, Moreno. They scored loads of goals for Villarreal this season.
They're not blessed with riches up front, are they? So, and that's where you need to put the ball away, because you see the football, it's joy to watch, and it's a fast pace as well. But if you've got no one to stick it in the back of the net, then you're never going to win games. And Italy, people like doggy teams like Italy, and they stick around and they're clinical at the other end.
Yeah, but you have the football purists saying, well, but Rhodri, Spain won the European Championships in 2012, and they didn't even have a striker playing in the team.
Yeah, it's different qualities, isn't it?
I can't believe they had four defenders and 6 midfielders.
Yeah, it's different qualities. You've got big players like David Silva playing, Xavi playing, Iniesta.
Yeah.
Fabregas playing.
Fabregas. There's levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they still had Mata and Pedro to come off the bench.
And all them players follow the ball, so you never get where in Spain there's like 1 or 2 people in the ball. There's like 5 or 6 all getting in there. So,
yeah, true.
They reckon this Pedri lived up to top billing last night, though, don't they? That he's the real deal.
Good
little player. Yeah. The thing is, Barcelona are in trouble, aren't they, financially? They can't register Aguero and Depay.
Yep.
Because they're about 1 billion in debt, and they can't make any signings. They're fucked.
You're trying to release your Umtitis, your Coutinho.
Where's Messi going to end up?
Messi technically is a free agent now, but they're trying to essentially fob off all these players so that they can give those wages to Messi. That's what it's about. So Umtiti, Coutinho, who they're still paying for to this day.
Lenglet, tell me Lenglet is one of the players.
Lenglet surprisingly is not one of them. Surprisingly, he actually isn't. Just a load of players that they just brought in. Pjanic came in last year with that shocking sort of deal.
With Artur, that deal, innit?
Yeah, that's another one they've pretty much told him, we don't even want a fee for you. We just want you to go. And he refused to let his contract go. So they have to sell him, but it'll be for free. So,
oh, yeah. Pjanic, Braithwaite, Junior Firpo. Firpo's already gone, hasn't he? He's gone to Leeds.
Yeah, he's left now, yeah.
Matthias Fernandez.
And obviously they've loaned out to Wolves, the Portuguese kid, Trincao.
All right.
Yeah, and the loan to buy option, 25 million. So that's another one. They're a mess. I love it personally. I hope Messi even says, you know what, F this, I'm going somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well. Right. Let's wrap it up with our predictions for the final then. And Steve, I look at this Italian team and just like you said, when it comes to England, they got more pace than Italy. I think they're more direct than Spain were. I think they're more creative than Spain were. They're more experienced than Spain were. But what does Gareth Southgate do? Does he play with near enough a similar lineup to today? Or does he stick an extra central midfielder because of the threat from the three midfield with Italy?
I think he'll go with what he went with today, but with not an open mind, but certainly in the back of his mind, a bit of a plan that he might have to flip the formation. You know, it's such a one-off game. If it's not going his way, I think they'll be well prepared that if they have to flip formation. He's shown tonight with the substitution of Jack Grealish, albeit that it was in extra time. He's willing to change formation. He's willing to change personnel. It looks like he's got the courage, but it's having the courage is one thing, but it doesn't half help when you've got good players. You're not putting any duck eggs on here. So all the lads are playing up to their maximum, and I think they'll go with pretty much what they went with tonight. Still, there you go.
Fair enough, Kojo.
Yeah, I think you have to stick with it now. But then the issue is, I think when he comes against teams that you think will have a much better threat, higher quality, you probably will refer to five at the back. To counter the threats of your Chiesas, I say Immobile. Immobile's been shocking in knockouts. Maybe your Berardi, Bedeshi, whoever can come on off the bench as well. So it wouldn't surprise me to see him go five at the back. But that being said, I don't think they're going to win this one. I can't see it.
Okay. Rod?
I think it'll be really cagey this one. It'll be tight. So, yeah, 1-0 either way. I just don't know which one yet.
So, do you think we're going to see Italian shithousery in this one?
I think we're going to see Italy, not shithousery. I think there's going to be Italy dominance. I think Italy's going to beat them.
Really?
Yeah. I called Italy from the... Well, I sort of called them my dark horse.
Okay.
At the beginning of the tournament when I was asked about them, just because I feel like no one really wanted to give them respect based on the fact that they didn't qualify. I think, was it for the last Euros or World Cup?
Last World Cup, yeah.
Last World Cup, yeah. So people were looking at them a bit funny. No one really believed in a lot of their players apart from maybe Chiesa, because that's, I guess, what they know from Juventus. But they've got a good team and they're very, very functional. And the best thing about them is they've rotated their squad perfectly. And all their subs have made sense. So players have been having rest periods. So they've been fresh throughout the whole tournament. I think that's why they've been able to get through all these games. So I feel like Mancini is going to add a couple of Euros to his collection on this weekend.
Wow, okay. Wow, Kojo's really going in there. Steve, I'm going to have to ask for your prediction then, mate.
I think it's fairy tale. I'm happy to go with it. I think it'll go all the way and England will win on penalties. Absolute fairy tale.
Fucking hell.
0-0, 1-1. But England will win on penalties.
Imagine how nerve-wracking them would be. Penalties to the final Euros.
I wouldn't want to be working in a hospital that night, I tell you.
No, you won't.
People coming in with cardiac arrest all over the fucking place. Jesus.
But excuse me. it's definitely the two best teams in the final. In Italy have been by far the best team from day one, and then England have got better and better as they've gone on. So it's by far the best two teams.
Yeah.
So Rod, who's winning it? Come on.
I think England. I think England is going to win it.
Yeah, do you know what? I have to agree with you. And that's purely on the basis of how Spain practically outplayed Italy in the final third. And they've cut them to ribbons. And I think, as I said before, England have got the experience and the balls that they were playing in pockets of space and the diagonal runs. And I don't think Italy will be able to cope with that. Look, don't get me wrong. They've got two very, very good central defenders, but their combined age is like 82 or something like that, isn't it?
I think that could be their weakness. That how solid they are, how experienced they are, but pace-wise, Sterling, quick feet, Sancho, whoever plays, Sacco, they'll find it difficult if you get them one-on-one. If you isolate them, trying to get them isolated, not so much Bonucci, but Chiellini. Harry Kane as well. Harry Kane's got to perform as well.
We've got to get. You mentioned Spinazzola before, but Emerson playing. We know he's an elite footballer, elite athlete to be playing at this level, but he was gassed. Yeah. He was absolutely gassed. So whether it be for the start of the game, he's got to be targeted throughout, I think. And I think that's where we'll possibly win the game in that right-hand side. So it'd be interesting to see who he picks and who comes on as a sub.
Even that left side as well. I agree with the fullback situation because Di Lorenzo is a good fullback, but when he's under pressure, he becomes rash. He panics a lot and he starts to commit stupid fouls. And the way Grealish came off the bench and was driving into the box, Di Lorenzo is not someone to stand off you. He likes to engage. And if you can get him hot under the collar, stress him out a little bit, it wouldn't surprise me to see him concede a penalty or a free kick close to the box. So that's another person you can target as well.
Yeah, good.
Yes, would you play Henderson and playing all three of them in there?
No, I think Mount does it superbly. I think he's not an outstanding number 10. He's not an outstanding holding midfield player, but he's very good. He's very good at both. And I think he's fit enough to combine, keep Phillips and Rice doing the sitting and a little bit of pressing one at a time. And I think Mount still for Henderson. And again, probably I'm taken by what I've seen tonight. Henderson to come on for Rice, probably, who empties his tank if it goes into extra time. Should it go that far? I've already predicted that it will. No, I'd stick with Mount, Rice, and Phillips, Rod.
Lads, I don't mean to backtrack here, but I've just seen something. The play should have been stopped before the Raheem Sterling foul because there were two balls on the pitch.
Right.
There was actually two balls on the pitch.
Oh boy!
I'm not clutching at straws. I'm just saying there were two balls on the pitch.
More good fortune.
There you go.
Yeah, that's they're gonna run with that as well. So a dive and two balls on the pitch.
No, but
They're never gonna get a better chance. I know that.
Facts.
At home, Wembley.
It's kind of written, isn't it? It's like what Souness said. It's written. But then again, here's another question, Steve. Man City had Mancini as head coach. Did he ever play three at the back? Do you remember?
I'm going to say yes, but not often. Not often.
So do you think he'd go with three at the back in this type of game?
No. They'll show England complete courtesy, but they won't change their model for any nation. I think Rhodri's said a couple of times already that they've been the best team in the tournament from day one. They ain't changing for us. They'll show us courtesy and they'll have to block certain parts of the pitch up, but I don't think they'll change their formula still. Why would they?
I don't know. I was just thinking maybe England might do the same. They might.
I think we've sometimes you can get criticism for being a tinker man. And sometimes you can get praise from it, and it's all just down to the fact whether you win the games or not. So Southgate is being lauded for changing the full-backs in tournament, changing the right winger in tournament, and changing the formation. But I do think Italy's are a little bit more set in stone outfit, and I think that'll be no. This is us. I don't see it still. No.
I think Southgate is going to make a really heartbreaking decision, and I get a feeling that he's going to replace Rice with Henderson, just for that experience.
I think Rhodri was leading towards that there with his thoughts. Is that what you were thinking, Rod?
Yeah. Well, he's been in big games before, and he's been in finals, Champions League finals, won the Premier League. Plus his experience, he looks like he's fit now. But if you Declan Rice, you'd be devastated.
No, Declan Rice is winning me over now. The more that I see him, I wanted to like him, but he gets through mountains of work, and he's got a real understanding with his centre halves behind him and Phillips next to him. He doesn't look forward too much with his passing, but again, why would we rip up? What was he on for tonight, Rice? 104 minutes.
No, it's all about. Has he got the legs though? Has he got the energy to? I know it's a tough decision, but he's played a lot of games in the past. Do you freshen it up? He's done it with the right wing. He's done it with the wingers. But it's a big game to do, a big call to do it in a final.
Rod, I don't know if you agree or not. I think he rotates the impact players, but I think the setting stone players, a bit of a pun there, John Stones and Maguire, the goalkeeper, Harry Kane and Sterling, and the two lads in the middle of the park. I think the players on the outside of the pitch are the ones who get rotated. The ones right in the middle of the pitch, the spine, obviously, people would call it. I don't see that being messed about with.
Unless you're Raheem Sterling.
Well, he's playing.
No doubt. No doubt. I'm just saying.
I was waiting for a back and forth.
He's not changed him. He's played every game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. He's earned the right. But I mean, anybody else, Trippier in and out, Shaw in and out, Saka in and out, Foden in and out. They all play on the outside of the pitch. So does Sterling, but he's earned the right to stay in.
It's a strange one that we've not seen Rashford a lot.
Honestly, I don't suppose anyone of us will really watch the game back. We don't have time, but I never saw him on camera shot tonight. I saw Cody, I saw Ramsdale, I saw Ben White, I saw them all. They were all celebrating. And let's have it right. We've just watched it for a good half an hour afterwards. I never saw Rashford warming up. I never saw him on a celebration. I never saw him shaking hands, cuddling a teammate. I don't know where he was tonight. I'm sure someone's going to say, I saw him. I'm just saying I looked and I couldn't see him.
He was helping in the concourse. He was helping serve the pies.
Well, he does that well.
There you go. Putting extra custard on the apple crumble, Or was it that you were having, Rod, last time? Manchester cake.
Manchester tart,
sorry. There you go. Right,
custard, bit of jam, pastry, beautiful.
No.
But that's your challenge, Stel. Watch a little rerun, full time, and the celebrations, and tell me, that where's Wally? Now it's where's Marcus? Never saw him.
Well, this is it, and let's be 100% honest. Like he hasn't done anything to deserve to play, has he? When he came on against Scotland, anonymous.
Sterling should give a kick up the arse though, because he's obviously a stalwart at United, but he's obviously not at England, and that's got to hurt him because he's done well for Southgate, and for him to not really feature at all, it must be hurting for him.
Yeah, but Rod, during the game, I've seen people like tweeting or make substitutions. Well, I'm thinking, well, who are you going to take off? You're not going to take off Harry Kane. You're not going to take off Raheem Sterling, right? Okay, Saka. Yeah, you're going to take him off, but you're not going to bring Rashford on because Rashford can only play on the left-hand side.
Someone tweeting who's won the league and champ manager about 4 years ago. So you just don't take any notice of it, yeah.
Exactly, but you just read these things and you're thinking, well, what goes in here? You want your head coach to make substitutions for the sake of what? For the sake of what? Because you think that's going to make an
like I was telling Stes, speaking to Stes before, to take Jack Grealish off. People going on about Gaza this, Gaza that. Gascoigne never in his life would be sub. So, that's a big, massive call to take him off. But like Stes said, who do you take off? Do you take off Phillips? Do you take off Sterling? To take off someone like Jack Grealish, for me, he's one of England's best players.
Yeah, but he kept Sterling on because of his pace and how he kept going. And on the counter attack, I thought England were going to get a third. In all
But
fairness,
that shows you how strong the camp is as well. Because other teams that could put someone's nose out of joint, that, especially a star like Jack Grealish. Just think of that happening at Aston Villa. It would never ever happen. So it's it was a big call anyway. I was like thinking, I went down to make a cup of tea, come back on thinking, where's Grealish gone? And I'm like thinking, where's he gone? And then he took him off.
Trippier was getting warmed up to come on. He was on the side of the pitch for ages getting instructions. And I'm thinking, who's coming off here? And I never saw it as Grealish.
Oh. All right. So we're going to record or stream our next show, hopefully after the game. If not, it'll be the day after. Maybe Steve will have a heavy head if England wins, so we might leave it for the next day.
No, I'm quite calm. Quite calm.
There you go. Kojo, thanks for joining us, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you, bro. Thanks for having me.
Do you do your socials?
Free Midfield podcast. Now, also now on Instagram, Free Midfield. Yay.
Well done.
Yeah, it's about time, isn't it? 3 years too flipping late. Twitter, Free Midfield. Spotify, the rest of them, Free Midfielder, and SoundCloud, YouTube, Free Midfield podcast. Been a while.
Excellent. Rod
James Giggs.
Lovely. And Steve is the only smart one out of the lot of us. Doesn't use social media. There you go. That's it, boys and girls. Until next time, take care, be nice, and